Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much. Good morning in Kigali, Rwanda. Good morning across in Britain. Good morning across all the Commonwealth states around the world, from Solomon Islands, Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, Togo Island. All those are in my head. I can mention over 42 Commonwealth countries without a hiccup. Good morning, South Africa. Good morning, Zimbabwe, formerly expelled from the Commonwealth, which is seeking to return to the Commonwealth. Good morning across in Uganda, Kampala, the city of 7 cities. Good afternoon, sorry, in Kampala. Good morning, the land of River Nile in Egypt. Good morning, the land of River Nile again in Khartoum. Good morning, South Sudan in Juba. Good morning in Asmara. Good morning across the continent of Africa in Democratic Republic of Congo. Good morning. Thank you very much for keeping the custom of watching Punchline Africa television beaming straight through the satellite in Berlin and straight down here in Nairobi, where you see Miriam is direct in our general headquarters. Good afternoon, Miriam, in Nairobi.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our viewers.
Across again in the mountains of Mount Kenya, Abadeas, we have none other than the man himself, the chief destroyer of William Ruto and his accomplices, called Douglas Kirimi, the real destroyer man. Good afternoon, Douglas.
Good afternoon, Dr. David Matanga. Good afternoon, Miriam Mobutu, to our crew and also our friends across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where they are watching us from. And thank you for having me on the show. It's a good day, Dr. David Matanga.
It looks very good and very fantastic around the slopes of Mount Kenya. I am very far near the coastal town. I can't see much, but how are you coping with the cold weather? I'm told Nairobi is very cold.
Dr. David Matanga, basically Mount Kenya region is very cold because of the mountains and all that. And for the fact that we live on the eastern side of Mount Kenya region, we experience the cold and all that. People have their coping mechanisms and all that. Besides that, the people of Mount Kenya region, especially Meru County, are very happy. The opening of their Miraa business and all that. Because in Meru, you cannot mention the economy of Meru without touching on Miraa business. And it has under strained a stretch for a few years when Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo was in power in Somalia, because Somalia is one of the biggest markets for the Miraa in the county of Meru and also the region. And Somalia has been one of our biggest contributors to our local economies, and people are very happy here. And at the end of the day, they are very happy that the President of the Republic of Kenya has been able to ink the deal, and it's going to be signed on 5th of July 2022, next month. And the people are very happy because also for people like us who do not farm Miraa, our economy is also going to improve, because those people that farm Miraa are going to also buy what we farm from our other side, Imenti region. And now people in Tigania and Degembe are going to have the purchasing power. So I also believe that it has also brought closure to the people who have also been promised a lot of brimstones and thunder and a lot of political promises in the coming election when they vote for particular people. But the president corrected that. So the vote that was supposed to have been bought using political promises and lies, I believe that it has come to an end, and the people are going to make a choice based on who has worked for them and the track record of the president. Or I believe Raila Odinga was in Meru the other day, and he said that he has contributed to also opening up of the Miraa business. So people probably are going to change their voting patterns and who they reward and who they also trust to uphold the same Mira markets and protect the same from cartels that made those big markets to be crossed, especially the Mira business in Somalia. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. We are here, and this is Diplomatic Leaks. The show is Diplomatic Leaks. Miriam, believe you have some few facts that you can tell to us. I have seen some of them flowing around. Do you have a copy? And about the Commonwealth, what exactly it stands for? It stands for the Common English-speaking countries that were formerly colonized by the British government, Her Majesty, the government of the United Kingdom. Most of them have been in this partnership for a long time. We have had Secretary Generals of Commonwealth coming from almost, one of them was a Nigerian, a great friend of everybody in Africa. We have a Secretary General coming from Sri Lanka. We have now a Secretary General coming from Barbados. We have had several, one coming from Australia or New Zealand, the one who put sanctions on Zimbabwe. We have had quite a lot of long history. Kenya has got a long history with the people of Britain, and therefore President Uhuru Kenyatta will be representing this entire region. The Queen, Her Excellency, Her Majesty the Queen, came and heard about the news. She was here for an official holiday, and then she heard about the news. So we still have a lot of historical links. Although some of these historical links remain contentious to the people of Africa, we still take the Commonwealth as one of the most silent unifying factor of nations, where you have not had too much, pull and push. The only time we had too much pull and push was on apartheid of South Africa and the Ian Smith Declaration of Independence in northern Rhodesia. In Rhodesia, it was very bad, and that was the time when the Commonwealth came to real test of times. But now, as we speak, the Commonwealth seems to be that Britain, it has come to a time when Britain is no longer a member of the European Union. It decided to go back to its original entity to conserve their integrity. What is most important is integrity. There were some other European countries that looked like their integrity was compromised. Look at the former Soviet Union bloc countries that broke away from the Soviet Union, Lithuania. All these countries, states were not existing. But after the breakaway, the collapse of the Soviet Union empire, the United Soviet Union, there came several states that were based in Central Europe. And those states in Central Europe kept on, bringing quite a lot of influx of refugees into European Union markets, especially Britain. And Britain was not very comfortable with the influx of Eastern Europeans taking over most of the jobs that were meant for the nationals, and the behavior changed. So Britain wanted to conserve its behavior as people who are honest when it comes to corruption, people who don't do fraudulent acts. It decided to get away and say they were not gaining anything much. Instead, they were being burdened by being in the European Union. Therefore, the only remaining standing point or post where the Queen remains very important and useful to the world is the Commonwealth and the people of Britain. And believe me or not, some of us who have benefited from the British system, that having given us, some of us who did not have where to go, we did not have homes. We want to thank Her Majesty, the government of Britain, for having offered us that type of life sanctuary where we live up to today. Your Excellency, Her Majesty, the Queen, long live the Queen of United Kingdom. So for the first time, the country, or the second time, the Queen is hosting, or the Commonwealth is hosting a conference in a former French colony. I think the other time was in Mozambique, you remember? Mozambique also became a Commonwealth. I think there was a Commonwealth conference in Mozambique, if I'm not mistaken. One of the rules of the Commonwealth is we don't vote on contentious issues. We just agree by consensus. Kenya applied to become the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. She withdrew her candidature because of the fear of acrimony that could come about when you pull the two states and the two individuals, both of them blacks, in the Commonwealth, mainly dominated by the white Commonwealth. So if two blacks are fighting for the cake, then you'll know what happens after that. So for now, that's exactly what is taking place in Rwanda. Officially, it will be opened by Prince Charles either today afternoon, I think, and it will go on for 5 days until next week, 27th. And remember, Miriam, we have a tight calendar on 27th. We shall be beaming straight live from Netherlands, where we shall be having a live coverage of the closing of the case between one Kenyan, Paul Gicheru. So this will take us the whole of this week, the whole weekend. People will be seated in groups. I remember I attended the Commonwealth. I've attended 3 Commonwealth conferences in Abuja, Nigeria, in Gambia, and in Malaysia, called, the capital city of Malaysia is called Kuala Lumpur. The dialogue of Kuala Lumpur, how Kagame staged a Kuala Lumpur stage of dialogue, extended dialogue, wider dialogue. I don't know when they are going to have a declaration coming out of Rwanda. I enjoyed that wider dialogue where we are fighting for the release of Sung Kim Sung, the lady from Burma, Myanmar, who had been imprisoned by the generals there, the 5 generals. They ruled power with 5 of them, all 5-star generals lead. They take power anytime they come back. They can take power anytime they say we are coming, and they come. So Miriam and Douglas, that's all I can say for now. I don't know whether you have any other issues to add on. Go ahead, Miriam. Back to you.
Maybe Douglas should. Douglas, do you have something that you'd like to add? Because I just have the general points about the heads of states meeting and government from Africa, Europe, Asia, and I think all of these things Doc has mentioned, so I just don't want to go over them. And of course, the issue of Commonwealth happening in Rwanda has been contentious. As Doc, you've rightfully pointed out there, Rwanda applied to be part of Commonwealth and it was accepted. And it is considered contentious because the same issues say that got Zimbabwe removed from Commonwealth. Rwanda suffers from the same issues as far as human rights abuse is concerned, harassment of opposition is concerned, lack of democracy and things like that. So Zimbabwe can suffer for that, but Rwanda can host a Commonwealth summit, and it still has some problems to do with this. So the double standards there and has brought a lot of contention and has raised a lot of questions. But personally, I you know how I feel about Commonwealth, but I'll let Douglas speak about it.
Thank you, Miriam. I believe also it should be that contentious that the Commonwealth function to be held in Kigali, Rwanda, and the same country that cannot uphold democracy, human rights for their citizens, and also other issues, Miriam, that made Zimbabwe to be blacklisted from the Commonwealth. The same opportunities that are denied to Zimbabwe are given to the people of Rwanda or the Republic of Rwanda, Miriam. I think that for human rights to be respected, for democracy to be upheld, and also to make sure that equality amongst the citizens of Rwanda and the Commonwealth are also respected, we need to also interrogate that. I think the next Commonwealth conference should be held in Zimbabwe for them to be able to appreciate that, and also for the Commonwealth ends summit should appreciate that the role they have also participated in, the role they have played in Zimbabwe, in destabilizing Zimbabwe as we know it. Remember even tourism in Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe was depending on the tourism within the circuit around Commonwealth, and those countries were the same that were coming to Zimbabwe. And when this Commonwealth status or membership was withdrawn from Zimbabwe, they lost a lot of tourism activities in their country. They have destabilized the economy of Zimbabwe, whereas even with that conference alone, they have been able to uplift the economy of Rwanda. The double standards in Commonwealth, Miriam, is something that should be looked at. You cannot talk about democracy, respect for human rights, and also equality among member states. Then you are disrespecting others and also removing them from the same. The issues in Rwanda and Zimbabwe and some other African countries are the same. And Miriam, they should be treated the same. If now you can treat Rwanda the same, with some utmost respect and also exclusion of their mistakes and all that, you can be able to now overlook the issues in Zimbabwe. But for us to be able to have a better democratic, equitable, and also respectful Commonwealth, we should respect other countries and also be able to deal with each other decisively, and also deal with errant members or those that break the rules of the Commonwealth as we know it today, deal with them equally. The same measure that has been given to Zimbabwe is the same measure should be applied in Rwanda. And Miriam, for us to also continue enjoying the Commonwealth as we know it today, and enjoying our participation in the Commonwealth, and for us to be called together, if I may call it, I use that word. If we were to be called together with the Commonwealth, we need to also stop taking advantage of other countries and making sure that we continue defranchising those countries in the name of Commonwealth, Miriam. If you look at the benefit of some of these countries that they derive from the Commonwealth, Miriam, are not worth it. I saw Jamaica say they want to call it quits from the Commonwealth. I even saw Canada say that they want to call it from the Commonwealth, basically from England or from Britain. They want to be separated from the end of Commonwealth, who is the Queen of England. But at the end of the day, I need to also to feel part of it. If it is beneficial to both of us, if it's a symbiotic relationship between the people of Britain and the member states of Commonwealth, it's something that can be upheld. But if it's one way, or sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't favor you, or the benefits and cons of the pros and cons of being associated with the Commonwealth, if they outweigh each of them, we need to also give it a break. Because at the end of the day, Miriam, there is no need of being said to be in Commonwealth, like in Zimbabwe today, was seeking to be readmitted. Rwanda has been admitted in Commonwealth, but even today, we find opposition leaders being killed and being jailed in Rwanda. Democracy has been stifled in Rwanda, but we cannot speak about those issues in Kigali, Rwanda, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for those comments. We have 47 days, 14 hours, 33 minutes, 56 seconds to elections in Kenya. The Commonwealth observers are already here, and the monitors are already here. If you didn't know, they came, they landed, they observed, they monitored, they are still monitoring. Their report will be seen at the end of the session of the voting situation that Kenya is going to go through. So unless there's something else new, and Miriam, you finished?
Yeah. I have not very kind words for Commonwealth. I still don't understand why it exists. And what's the Professor Pielo? Yeah, so the psychology. I have a problem with the psychology of Commonwealth as an African, so yeah, I have nothing much to say about it.
So psychology of the Commonwealth, we should also balance psychology of the Arabs as an African. So next time we shall discuss it. But for now, let's leave it to a clip that show, listen to what sentiments I said about the gains that Zimbabwe can get for their entry in the Commonwealth. Let's play that clip, and thank you very much, Douglas. Thank you very much, Miriam. I will see you at 3 p.m. East African Standard Time. I wish you good luck with your, of course, we'll talk about the Commonwealth. Give them kind words. And on African News is one of the items. Give them some kind words. They do exist. There are so many people who have got scholarships from the Commonwealth, and they are studying, they came back, they are here, they are contributing to the nation. So Commonwealth has equally contributed to our existence as nations. Thank you. Video. Over 35 heads of state from the Commonwealth will be attending the summit, the Commonwealth Summit, to be held in Kigali, the capital city of Rwanda. Viewers across the continent of Africa and the world watching. This Commonwealth comes to Africa after the COVID-19. It should have been held in 2020, and then 2021 it could not be held. It was pushed until 2022, today, June. This morning, the forums of the Commonwealth, most of us were invited. Some of us have not been able to attend. But the question that is on the top of everything, on everybody's mind, is one thing: what can the Commonwealth bring to the new after COVID Africa, the economies of Africa? What is it that we can learn from what took place under COVID-19? What is it that we can say we can get? There are countries. Over 20 years ago, the British Commonwealth, Australia, New Zealand, Canada expelled Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth. Today, as we speak, Zimbabwe Foreign Ministry and the Zimbabwe Minister of Foreign Affairs and His Excellency President Mnangagwa have been trying and saying and asking that we need to go back to the Commonwealth. The trigger of expulsion of Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth triggered sanctions. It is Britain that triggered the sanctions that came to bite Zimbabwe after the expulsion. Zimbabwe needs to be readmitted in the Commonwealth. During the Mugabe government, most of us told the British, I told Tony Blair myself, in 1998, I stood up in the Labour Delegates Conference and said it was better to engage Mugabe than isolating Mugabe. I have no regrets for having stood by Zimbabwe. Those malcontents, those who have actually belittled Zimbabwe, besmirched Zimbabwe, called for sanctions to kill Zimbabwe, including the leaders of opposition, Morgan Changarai the late, Welshman Kube, and Tendai Biti, and now added with another malcontent called Chamisa. They have belittled, they have besmirched their country, they have prostituted their country. I have been in opposition for 37 years, and my president, President Museveni, has just arrived in Nairobi where we are. But I have never called for sanctions to kill my people. I've been fighting, I've been critically, I'm one of the chief critics of President Museveni, and I have never hidden my desire of stating what is right, what he has done right, I've said he has done right. What he has done wrong, I've said he has done wrong. I have also equally been in the bush. I just don't talk. I've also been a fighter. And I don't talk like a civilian all the time, no. I know what it means to have a conflict. Therefore, it was the beginning of the trouble that we saw. Zimbabwe fell into the hands, America followed, European Union followed after sanctions were put on this country. From that time to date, as a question of the land redistribution program, viewers and those listening to this tape, and those who will pick this tape, millions of you, I want to tell you the one thing that historically Mugabe did right, which will never reverse, whether you go to Angel Gabriel and come back, whether you want to wash your hands near God and come back, is the reversal of the land redistribution program. The land redistribution program, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Pierre Lumumba and others who are on them watching and listening carefully. The land redistribution program healed a lot. We might have suffered. In 1998, 97, 98, when the war veterans decided that enough is enough, land was redistributed. The whites who wanted to remain in Zimbabwe are still there. Those who wanted to choose to go somewhere because they had second homes, they went. Those who had grievances have been compensated. President Idi Mnangagwa, my good friend, he has tried to please these guys by saying, come, we can, okay, if it was the money, we shall pay you. But remove the sanctions. What are the benefits? If Zimbabwe is still on sanctions, why can't we speak with one voice, 54 nations? Stand up and say, especially the African countries and the Caribbean countries, and say enough is enough to America. Sanctions must be removed for this country to be able to sell its diamonds, for this country to be able to sell its gold. It is not that Zimbabwe is poor. It is because it has been heaped with sanctions that it cannot sell even their own resources, God-given resources. They have an embargo put on Zimbabwe minerals to be exported and sold in the transparent market. It is sad, therefore. For me, this marks my 22nd year since I started struggling for this great nation called Zimbabwe. For me, it marks a great milestone for this great nation, Zimbabwe, that I moved in. I came, I saw, and said I preferred to defend a black man in Europe than die while begging. I was a victim of attacks. I was a victim of ultra-nationalist attacks in Britain. I was published on headline newspapers. The Telegraph is read by over 80 million. When I walked out of my house, I found a battery of journalists, about 100 of them, waiting for me, saying Mugabe's mouthpiece is in our country. I never gave up. I never told a lie. I never changed my course. I never asked for money. I have never asked for a penny from Mugabe or Emerson Mnangagwa to defend Zimbabwe. I've never gone there to say, beg you, give me some money. If there is any evidence of that money, then that person must be eating the money in my name. I have never. But because of the friendship, the Pan-Africanism, the zeal of patriotism, the zeal to be proud to defend a nation, I fought Changarai physically in Brussels. I fought Changarai physically with Watchman Kube in conferences where Zimbabwe ambassador called Simbarashe Mbebegwe could not go. I could go. Where Damba could not go. Where most of these intelligence officers from Zimbabwe attached to European capitals could not go. I went. I attended those conferences. And unfortunately, we have also bad elements within our systems. Elements like Jonathan Moyo, who became a very dangerous man by directing his attacks on innocent people, by even trying to confuse President Mugabe. My policy was leave the journalists. One of the problems that I disagreed with Jonathan Moyo is on the question of journalists. I want to tell you and state categorically that it is this policy of me saying allow the journalists to report. They will report nothing after 1 month. They will be dry. But if you keep them off, they will find stories to blacklist, to blackmail Zimbabwe. The land program had already been done. There was no reverse. Even the Changarai could not reverse. There is nobody in Zimbabwe who will reverse the land issue. The land is done. And that is, it has helped. Most of us who stood firm and encouraged the late President Mugabe are seeing the fruits. Morgan Changarai's family is still exporting flowers. Chamisa's flowers. I know a company of Chamisa which exports flowers to Belgium to Netherlands. I can intercept the flowers and mark them from his farm and bring them to the public. But these are the people who never wanted this land reform to happen. It is up to the people of Zimbabwe themselves and those watching and listening that time has come. They have come in another way now again. They have come in a format of a regime change. A regime change where George Soros pays NGOs to surround you, to blacklist you, give you bad names. They say when you want to kill a dog, you have to give it names and later on slaughter it. There are people in Zimbabwe themselves, traitors, homemade traitor cliques that give false intelligence to His Excellency President Mnangagwa. Those should be warned that we patriots who have also stood for this nation, who have worked for this nation, tirelessly without asking for a penny, The only penny that I got was when President Mugabe met me in Addis Ababa and asked me, the late, how are you paying your bills in these hotels, my son? May his soul rest in peace. He gave me $1,322. $1,322 to pay my bill in Radisson Blue. That was the time when I said, Your Excellency, you need to have a transition. And unfortunately, when he went back, he told the wife that what is this thing called a transition? Then the wife started the transition. It is history. But my great leader, my great mentor, the great person who mentored, who gave us impetus to speak like Africans, a great man who inspired me, a great proud guy who made me proud whenever I could stand in Brussels, whenever I could challenge Morgan Changarai, whenever I could stand. You can see my name in the book of Leti Morgan Changarai, page number 53 of his book, in the deep end, book called The Deep End or something like that. Because I was a thorn in Changarai's ribs. I was a thorn telling him, why are you calling for sanctions? To kill yourself, to kill your people. Today, these sanctions, some have been partially removed. Some are still there. So today, as we speak about the Commonwealth, Rwanda is hosting the Commonwealth. Zimbabwe 2 years ago applied to return to the Commonwealth. There are those that are saying there are no benefits of returning to the Commonwealth. I changed this topic to accommodate those who want to say we don't want to join the Commonwealth, and those who say we want to join the Commonwealth. Because the Commonwealth is Commonwealth, but Commonwealth is part of the colonization strand that colonized Africa, left us where we are, taught us the English we have, but left us with a lot of disadvantages. My own country, where I come from 37 years ago, or 42 years ago, we are overthrown by Idi Amin. We went to Tanzania, where I met most of the liberation movement, including Constantine Chiwenga, when he was a younger man. He's younger than me. I'm about 2 years old. Yes, 3 years older than General Chiwenga. I met several people. I met Vox Binavashi. I met several people, several generals, when we were younger people in Tanzania. The Tanzanian TPDF Defense Forces helped us to overthrow Idi Amin. I was in Chikosi Maalum 208 KJ. That moved on to Kampala to topple dictator Idi Amin. The Commonwealth stood by and watched us as we killed each other. The former Prime Minister Edward Heath, the late, engineered a coup in my own country, gave power to Idi Amin. I want to tell Zimbabweans watching and listening to this tape that we have suffered the plight of the Commonwealth itself. 1971 coup, I was going to primary senior secondary school the same day on 25th. My father left me to go because he was being looked for, having been a politician in the Obote I government. He left me to go to school with my box. And here I am today. I've never forgotten that day when Idi Amin soldiers were stopping each car, taking out people, shooting them at a close range. Anybody who was perceived to be Obote's supporter and black. anybody black or Bote supporter was killed. Today, the Commonwealth has given quite a lot of inspiration to people, and also has also given us a lot of gloom. They have not stood to the Commonwealth itself. They have not given us the direction. There are so many things, there are so many reparation agreements that have never occurred. I remember in Kenya, the Mau Mau are looking for their money. The torture of the Mau Mau freedom fighters. These are some of the things that we should now normalize, that we have now a global village of 54 countries in Africa that were injured. Reparations are supposed to be a healing process. That once the reparations are done, there's healing. Indeed, I agree with those as a lecturer of political science, because I do visit universities here and there to speak. If you call me for 2 hours, I'll speak for 2 hours and you'll pay highly on some of these topics. Indeed, I agree that payments should be made. Reparations should be made for a healing process. Any of this situation that you see must be healed. You can't say a redemption strategy is not important. You can't say just to say slavery was very bad. People need reparations. You need to reparate, to put it back to life. Redemption strategy is a healing process. We are not going to read notebooks like Mandela left us with poems. When Mandela died in South Africa, I did not cry. But when Mugabe died, I came and saw and buried him. Yes, I flew in. Even some people did not know. They only saw me emerging out of the stadium. I flew in and I thank my friends. I thank His Excellency President Emerson. I came in. I saw. There's one man I had wanted that if he ever dies, I must go and say hi to the last minute, to give me an inspiration that you can work freely without putting money first, but you work for your people, for this continent. I went and buried for a few days, and I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta. We saw each other there in Harare, and I came back. It is sad, therefore, that Africa should not be played about and played about. We be told now this conference in Rwanda, Zimbabwe wants to be readmitted in the Commonwealth. What then happens with the 20-year-old sanctions that have hurt people? Medicines are not in hospital. Diseases that could be cured could not be cured. What happens? People died of diseases because you have put sanctions on a small country, that ministers from these small countries cannot go there to collect and sit down. We lost so many people. But all in all, it is up to the people of Zimbabwe. I'm not the foreign minister of Zimbabwe, neither do I do their foreign policy. I am an international activist who is against some of international agencies like ICC, ICJ, because these are colonial vestiges that have been brought on the continent of Africa to frustrate only Africans. Does it worry you that only Africans are the ones standing trial in the ICC? Does it? I fought ICC and defeated it. Anybody thinking that he can defeat Matanga on international law, anywhere, international scene, whether Zimbabwe or what, you can't defeat me on there. I know all the corners. I fought. Babugo is free. I fought. Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto are free. I fought. Bemba is free. I fought. Saidi Gaddafi is free. I stood firm for them. I wrote my documents. You can go to the website of ICC. Application. I don't need a lawyer to write for me an application. My applications have been very constant. I've never even asked the PLO Lumumba to write one application for me. He's here on the platform, he will tell you. I've fought. I write my own application with my small English of Shakespeare and J.A. Bright. I did not read those books of Ogundipe and so on. I read J.A. Bright. I've made my applications. I've succeeded on Bemba. I've succeeded on Saidi Gaddafi. I've succeeded on President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto. They are here because I intervened. I exposed the ICC. Babugo is here. I succeeded. And I'm still pulling my strings with General Bashir. I'm the one who told Bashir. I visited Khartoum and I told Bashir, the French will finish you. When Bashir told me that he had given the French to reorganize Khartoum, I told him, are you all right? Are you, Your Excellency, are you really all right? Do you have advisors here? The French pay for 3/4 of the ICC. All the judges are paid salary from France. How will they help you to reorganize the Khartoum? It didn't take 6 months before a military coup came. Bashir is in custody today. I've stopped the ICC. I've told General Duglo, my comrade, my friend. I knew Duglo when he was a lieutenant colonel. He was not a general. The one who has taken over power in Khartoum. I told him the moment you hand in Bashir to the ICC, Duglo, the next person is you, and I will not come there to support you. You will be handed over. Because if you hand your general, then you must also go. Because you are the commander of the Janjaweed, the militia that was killing people in Darfur. So you hand him over, then they will come for you also. I've been honest. I've defended Africa. And for anybody naively, myopic, underrating my strength of knowing international intelligence is very silly. Very silly, shallow, prudish, sardonic. That anyone of any kind could imagine that I don't know international intelligence would be a very stupid person. I know Africa in and out. There's no, I told you that 5-7 years ago, Professor Pierrot, I said there will be a proxy war in East Africa. There is a proxy war. Is there no proxy war now? Professor, I told you, there's a war here that the French are making a war. Is it not there now? M23 rebels are here. We are meeting in Kigali when M23 have captured the territory of Congo. Is that not a proxy war? When I talked that, it took only 4 months, and the proxy war struck. The first culprit was Burundi. Nkurunziza was overthrown in the morning. It took Tanzanian TPDF soldiers to cross over to Bujumbura to remove the general. That is the essence of knowing the African situation. I don't work for George Soros. I hate him. And let him hear, can I repeat? I hate him. Because George Soros only uses opposition leaders in Africa to destroy their countries while he's seated in New York. Has it come to your minds, you Zimbabweans, that George Soros is opposite the UN and opposite Trump? If you have gone to New York at all, their towers are opposite each other. But nobody has issued a warrant of arrest for George Soros. He's an American outfit of CIA. So when you deal with him, you are collecting that money to kill your country. One of the problems why I don't disagree with a younger boy who was not born when I was already fighting and I knew how to handle AK-47 Bob Wine in Kampala. He's not worth my sword. He's not even worth my firstborn. My firstborn is 43 years old and Bob Wine is about 41. So why should I deal with somebody who should be playing music at my ceremony? I can't. And I've told him, if you go on keep picking money from George Soros to come here and make Ugandans. Have you ever seen Ugandans coming to the streets that they are following you? No. Because Ugandans have seen the truth. They know who are the real fighters. They know who are the real fighters. So in this world, when you are making a bed, make a bed and leave some space without putting thorns, because you might sleep on those thorns tomorrow. When Besigye was making laws that were chasing Matanga, that Matanga was being chased in Harare, whenever I could arrive in Harare, the director of external intelligence is also in Sheraton waiting from Uganda. Until one day I caught him in a lift. I said, now we are here, I can throw you through this lift. Why are you following me even here? I've suffered. I've suffered an assassination attempt. I am still here talking for Africa. And nothing will deter me as long as I'm alive. I am not interested in your money. You can have your money, but your money, you might eat it on the streets. I'm telling you because you must be careful, the people of Zimbabwe. The wind that is gathering around you is not a very good wind. It's not. The Americans are with you, gathering every bit of intelligence. They have come all the way up to Lusaka, Zambia. They have come all the way up to Malawi. Puppet states, satellite states gathering around you. My friend E.D., I've known him for 23 years now. I don't go around boasting. I have never come there to ask him for even a penny. And I will never. If he gives me, fine. I put it in a charity. But I stand by my truth. That is what I am. And that is why I'm saying I put this topic for you people. That's the much I can talk for even 5 hours. I'm one of the few people who does not write things. I write everything on the paper. No. My intelligence is very clear, very different. I just pick my things. I know the subject. This is the thing I studied. I've not studied the grave digging, which is a science. Pierre Lumumba.